Well, hey, it's Donna Partel with a real quick question. Do you have a bucket list of places that you want to see before you die? And by any chance, are Greece and Italy on the list? If no, then you can just hit stop on this video and go back to whatever it was that you were doing. But if the answer is yes, we need to talk right away, because I have decided to take a group of people with me to Greece and Italy. And you know, this is not going to be your ordinary, go look at museums kind of a trip. We are going to follow in the footsteps of the Apostle Paul, so that as we experience these two fabulous countries, we're there with a mission. We're there with a purpose, and that is for the Bible to come to life. I've had the incredible blessing of traveling to Israel and Egypt and Turkey, places that are extremely significant in the Bible and in church history. And I will tell you, once you've been to a place like that, you can never read the Bible the same again. You're reading through and you're like, wow, I've been there. And it's just it just makes the Bible real. And so that's the way I want to experience Greece and Italy. And if you're like me, then what I'm about to share might just be for you. I've decided to go with my spiritual father, Hector Torres of Bogota, Colombia, on a trip retracing the footsteps of the Apostle Paul, highlighting the cities of, I have a list. We're going to go to Ephesus, which is where Timothy, young pastor, had one of the original mega churches there in Ephesus. The Apostle John also lived in Ephesus, is believed to be buried there. Jesus' mother Mary is believed to have lived there, maybe even have been buried there. You can see where the Apostle John's church was. You can see the actual little shopping area where it's believed, well, actually it's quite certain, that the Apostle Paul and Aquila and Priscilla had their little tent making shop, and where Paul had his school of discipleship. You can see the actual arena where everybody went loco, that's crazy in Spanish, and started yelling, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians." That alone is going to be amazing. Then we're going to go to Pergamum, which is where one of the 7 churches, the letters to the churches in Revelations, one of them is Pergamum. And it talks specifically about that being the seat of Satan. And wow, we're going to do a teaching on that. It's going to blow your mind. Then we will go to Philippi, which is amazing to me, not only as a Christian woman, but as a Christian businesswoman. Do you know that God could have chosen anyone to start the church on the continent of Europe? He chose a businesswoman, and not any businesswoman, but she was in the high fashion industry. Come on, that's pretty cool. So she dressed really nice, I'm sure. So we'll go to Philippi, and of course the letter to the Philippians. Then we'll go to Thessalonica, and we'll bring to life what was Paul in those books. What were the issues? What was going on in that church? What was he addressing? Then we will go on to Athens, and this will be where I really go at it, because through a pastor from India, God really gave me some revolutionary insight into what happened in Athens and why there is no church in Athens. And it's very relevant for us today, especially if you're a Bible teacher, minister, if you're involved in your church. It's really important to understand what exactly happened with Paul in his ministry in Athens, so that you can avoid some of those traps yourself. From Athens, we'll go where Paul went next, which was Corinthians. And you may know I've written a book, an inductive Bible study on Corinthians, one of Paul's letters to the Corinthians. And my life verse is, we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that the all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. And that was basically Paul's message to the Corinthians. And I think it's going to be one of the themes throughout this trip, the power of God and how he empowers us to fulfill the mission on our life. And then we're going to take a day that probably has nothing to do with the Bible, but it will be fun and we can't resist. We're going to take a day to just tour fabulous Greek isles, and we can imagine that surely lots of the Bible characters sailed around those islands. And then it is on to Italy, on to Rome, and we will see the Sistine Chapel and the Colosseum and some of those amazing sites. But again, our purpose, the book of Romans and throughout all of this, is to really bring the Bible to life. If you don't know my spiritual father, and he's, maybe more well known in Latin America than he is in North America, but he's traveled in ministry to either 70 or 80 countries. He's been part of incredible moves of God and revival around the world, and you're just going to fall in love with him. Probably the highlight of this trip is going to be the privilege of spending time with him and getting to know him. We took a group with my spiritual father to Turkey earlier this year, and that was the biggest takeaway. Everybody said, I just want to be Hector when I grow up, which is what I've been saying for years. I just want to be Hector when I grow up. The tour company, of course, I'll be teaching. More importantly, Hector will be teaching, but we're going to be going with a tour guide that my former pastor has worked with for decades. And I've done 2 tours with them. This is not your average tour. We are going to have brilliant leaders. And they're not going to say there's a building, there's a building. Our last tour guide was a PhD archaeologist. That's who we'll have. People who are true experts on the history of the church in these nations. So we'll have, deep insight into the history, and then you'll have the Bible teaching on top of that. It's going to be just incredible. Everything will be first class from start to finish. 4- and 5-star hotels, fabulous meals. It is going to be a first class, not a budget tour, first class tour, even though the price is pretty smoking. But again, you could go on Travelocity and get a deal. But this is about the entire experience of the Bible coming to life for you. We want this to be a spiritual journey as we follow in the footsteps of Paul. We're following his 3rd missionary journey, and it's just going to be incredible. The reason I decided to put together a quick video is because there is a sense of urgency. The tour company just emailed me yesterday, and they're like, Donna, we know you've been in Fiji, we know you've been gone for 3 months, but we have work to do. And they need to know by September 1st who's coming on this trip. So if you want to come, we need to know ASAP. Also, need to let you know, if you're watching this video, you probably know me through Women's Empowerment University, and you're wondering, is this just for women? Absolutely not. We are praying that many pastors will come and want to bring members of their congregation. In fact, if you are a pastor, ministry leader, or person of influence, and you can bring 5 people with you, your trip, including your airfare, is free. I'll say it again. Bring 5 family members. Bring 5 people from your church or from your ministry, your circle of influence, and your trip, including airfare, is completely free. So that's a pretty incredible opportunity for you. I would love for you to be part of this adventure. I'm so excited. It's been on my bucket list forever, and we're going to do it. It's going to be in April of 2018, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I hope that you will join me. There's probably a button around here somewhere where you can click and put in to reserve, make your deposit and reserve it. But if not, you can go to footstepsofpaul.com, footstepsofpaul.com. I hope to see you in Greece and Italy for 2018.